In today's video, we're going to be talking about the tropics as well as the upcoming pattern. Again, we're talking about some big-time storms moving across the nation, potent cold fronts bringing storminess and colder temperatures with them. Eventually, however, after those colder temperatures, we are expecting to move into a bit of a warmer pattern later on. This is kind of what we talked about yesterday. We do have some new information to share today, though, however. Before we get into things, be sure to check out our other business, Prestige Weather, in the description and pinned comment down below, where you can find that for $5 a month. You can get access to our early access for those seasonal and monthly forecasts, as well as weekly consulting calls, other consulting services within our network of social media, things like that within there as well. So there's some really cool stuff, and we also have some new features on the way as well down the road. So tons and tons of value there for only $5 a month, like I mentioned. Now, as we get into things, we can see that there is no tropical development still expected over the next 7 days. So we're going to move right past that into the upcoming pattern. We do actually have a pretty big storm system moving through today as we speak. So from the southeast into the mid-Atlantic and into the northeast there, we are dealing with some thunderstorms through the day today. For tomorrow, however, things kind of clear up. We do see the southeast still dealing with some thunderstorm activity, pretty much a daily occurrence at this point. We do see a larger system, 997, there near the state of Maine and eastern Canada in general. This is bringing some pretty heavy storminess for a lot of different states, so definitely some interesting stuff going on there. 1004 and 1002 millibar low pressure center here developing, creating some storminess up there for Canada, the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. So there is some interesting things on the way for the day tomorrow. As we move towards Saturday, the 12th here, what we see is a storm system moving through here, 1004. And this kind of has a little bit of a cold front underneath that appears, bringing some thunderstorms in general, a bit of a warm front there, perhaps. So some warm air surging up the east coast here is what we expect for the most part. Some cooler air moving in behind this one. So this is the overall picture with this storm that we are going to be anticipating as we reach towards Sunday. On the 13th, however, we do see this one weakens quite a bit to 1006. Maybe a little bit of a cold front, warm front dynamic happening there, but really this is pretty exclusive to New England and eastern Canada there. We do, however, have another storm system moving through, and this one looks to eventually develop a low, perhaps. And this one is going to bring some more impacts with it as well, so we are watching very closely for that. And by Monday, here on the 14th, we can see that this does end up bringing 1005 millibar low pressure center there to the state of Wisconsin. And overall, for the surrounding states in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, we're going to see a lot of storms with this, as well as the Ohio Valley. And then at the same time, we do see this kind of surging of some warm, humid air, some storms moving up the East Coast with it. Definitely a very active pattern. Interesting to say the least. By Tuesday the 15th here, we could see some storms developing across a lot of the Northeast, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes, as well as the Ohio Valley there. But really quiet here for a lot of the West. As you can see, pretty much nothing happening within that entire area. By the time we reach Wednesday, this gets even quieter. Canada, however, we do have a 990, better yet, 982 millibar low pressure center. 1002 and then 1005 here. So there's a couple of lows up there pretty far north, but again, pretty far north. It's going to be exclusive for a lot of different areas up there. We see a 993 here developing with a very potent cold front here, ripping through Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, and then up into Canada, bringing thunderstorms pretty much throughout all of these areas here. We're going to be watching for that very closely. And by Friday the 18th, what we see is this primary low up here, which is a 989, and then 1001 here. And really, we're going to see a bit of a frontal boundary stretching all the way southward into kind of the deeper south there, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi primarily. Definitely, the jet stream is looking pretty active as we see something like this going on. So very warm, surging air up the East Coast. A lot of the same happening for the West Coast, and then cooler air trying to pour in between there. That is the look overall that we're taking a look at here. By the time we reach Saturday the 19th here, 996 there for eastern Canada. Cold front here, warm front way up above, and in general, a lot quieter for a lot of the United States outside of New England, where we do see some pretty potent storms happening up there. But again, outside of that area, not so much activity happening Now we do get a bonus day Sunday here on the 20th, and really on this frame from coast to coast, we do see pretty quiet conditions. So if you're kind of keeping up with this and following the trends with me as we talk, you'll notice that things do look to get quite a bit quieter here by the time we are reaching Sunday the 20th, and really over the course of that entire 5-day period or so, looking a lot quieter. Now total precipitation here is looking relatively empty here for a lot of these areas. Outside of the monsoon activity that we do have here for the four corner states, we do see overall the western half dealing with quieter conditions. However, when you move eastward into Canada and the rest of the eastern United States, we do see a lot more activity, especially the further north you go there into the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, especially there in the Great Lakes where the heart of that heavier precipitation is happening oftentimes. We do get above average amounts for these areas. In general, anywhere in the whites, we're expecting practically no precipitation. Your grays are going to be about a tenth of an inch or less. Your greens a tenth of an inch to half an inch. Blues are a half an inch to an inch. Your yellows an inch to 2 inches. Reds 2 to 5 inches there. And then your browns 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. So overall, heavier amounts there in the east as a whole. As we reach into this temperature pattern, we can see these big shots of cool air moving in. We even get a second one here around the 15th here, maybe early to midweek next week here. This is what we're dealing with here. Very warm along the west here, which is going to look a lot more like a positive PNA there. Again, colder air surging southward for a lot of these areas here. As we keep going, we can see that this cooler air pattern kind of continues, but we eventually see right around the 20th a warm up happening. We see the surging of this warmer air definitely playing a big time role in what's happening here. And also note, look at the west. Negative PNA perhaps trending in and really becoming the dominant feature there. That is certainly worth noting as well. And then we kind of see the warmth retreat back towards the west or middle of the United States, maybe leaving room for colder air to move into the east. But overall, this looks a little bit confused. I think the model is trying to get a grasp of what's going on, but really becomes averaged out at the end. And what I mean by that is there is multiple members of this ensemble model, quote unquote. So about 20 to 30 members here, all kind of putting their opinion out there, and then it takes the mean average of all of those and puts it together. When you get those kind of spreading out and going in different directions with how they think the upcoming pattern is going to be, it really begins to get this averaged outlook that we're seeing here, where it's just everything's a little bit close to normal, a little bit warmer than normal here in this instance, but you're not going to see all of Canada and all of the United States in above average conditions all at the same time. So this is likely not what things will end up looking like. It could be warm in the east, it could be warm in the central, it could be warm in the west, but it probably won't be from coast to coast like this. So only time will truly be able to tell. The good news is we do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe for those daily uploads. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.